I just don't want to cough. Sorry. I feel terrible. Um, anyway, trying to do everything I can not to cough right now. I turned this thing on and I just wanted to speak, and right away, my body wants to cough because I haven't spoken to anyone in like a couple of days. So when I was a kid, right, um, my aunt back in Woodhaven, she had a tulip garden, and it was nice. It was all full of yellow tulips, just like yellow tulips as far as the eye can see. And so as a kid, I wanted to smell the flowers. So I just stuck my face into a bed of tulips. And a few minutes later, my entire face swelled up. I couldn't see, I couldn't breathe, and my dad had to rush me to the emergency room. So ever since then, I am severely allergic to nature. Obviously, pollen. Tulip is like a giant bucket of pollen. Well, maybe not a giant bucket, but man. Oh my God. See, this is what I'm talking about. As long as I don't open up my stupid mouth, I'm not going to cough like a freaking lunatic. So, yeah. So I was up all night, um, up all day, up all night, up all day, just coughing and coughing and coughing and nose running. Almost went through a whole box of tissues. Took like 15 showers. So yeah, this is, even though I'm supposed to be talking about art and the freedom, doing art. My God, even this chair hurts. Everything hurts. Damn it. I feel like an old man, just walloped. Anyway, the freedom to do art. The Tower of Power. It's muted behind me. It's a nice muted kind of look today. Every day it's different up here. It's always a different look, different feeling. Even on days that look the same, it looks different. So I have boogers all over my face. Artistically, I didn't even know what I was going to talk about. I keep bouncing, like I've told you many times before, is this I always pregame, and then by the time I get here, I forget everything. It just doesn't feel right once I sit down. Then I'm just like, what? Oh yeah, that thing? Oh, I'm over that. I mean, it's like how a 45-minute subway ride changes your whole mood. It's like, nah, it's okay. It's, that guy that you really don't like is not that bad, not that big of a prick anymore. So, no, that's not true. Train ride should not change the degrees of someone's prickness. So yeah, I just don't even want to make. This is more like just practice. If this is just take more as a rehearsal, then if there's nothing, I have nothing, important to say. I'm just gonna be blowing my nose and coughing. How about that? That's this episode. So, yeah, let's talk. There's this. It's so many people I don't like, and they don't like me. So, I guess it all evens out. But there's a lot of people out there. Um, I think a lot of these curators. Of course, everybody's working an angle, but they just glom on to a lot of virtual signaling these days. It's been going on for a long time now. But just when you see it firsthand, and when like when you're part of those conversations or not part of those conversations, when I'm talking to other colleagues of mine, and it's like, oh, that guy's connected. What does that really even mean anymore? So someone elects themselves to be a gatekeeper because why? Because they have a little bit more of the gift of gab, and they go around chewing the ear off of these galleries. And this guy, in particular, his dad's famous, so therefore he has to do something with his life. So could always just name drop his own dad, and then lo and behold, these galleries and the owners and stuff, they just want to talk to him. I was like, oh, tell me about your dad because you're his son. And then ergo, somebody becomes connected because they're just ready. I should just go around saying I'm John Lennon's kid, like I'm his third kid from some Polish woman that he had sex with in Greenpoint. And then I could just walk into any gallery at this point and be like, well, I'm John Lennon's son, Conrad Lennon, really. I'm the same age as Sean Lennon, probably like, I don't know, it's like maybe like, yeah, be like, oh yeah, he had this, side piece that used to make him pierogies. Okay, so that's how they do that. That's so then it's and then people just want to hang out with him, and everything is just so obvious with its obviousness. It makes me nuts. It's so sleazy and just like transparent. Nobody has any like finesse. I know they have this talk. People talk about hustling all the time. Hustling. I hate that word, hustling. The word hustle, I hate it. I think it's a disgusting word to me. It's like, when I think of a hustler, I think of like a $3 hooker who has no teeth and she's really on her hands or knees because she needs that crack rock. That's what I think about hustling. It's like, do your hustle. Just these overused words are just, horrifying. So it's like once the wind, somebody like, oh, this dude. And it's like, oh, yeah. It's like it's like their panties are set aflame. And I'm talking about the guys here. Their panties are set aflame. And all of a sudden, they just want to be BFFs and, talking about who they know. And, I just stand there and I stare. And these people know that I'd rather see their head on a pike than to give them any sort of like lip service or, start gushing about whatever. That's the kind of guy I am. I really don't give two crapolas about your connections, who you know, what you know. I don't care. That's just I believe in the meritocracy. And I believe, at some level that's just like, listen, I'm here. And if you can't see what I'm doing, then that's your problem. It's not my problem. I'm not going to start whatever. And they know that, and they specifically they put you out. You're just not part of that club. They might be friendly when you see them at some sort of function and party, but it's just so supremely awkward, and they're just like, okay, oh, this is Conrad. Oh yeah, he makes those parking meters, and his place looks like his studio looks like a Bronx junkyard. I'm like, really? That's what you're saying my place looks like? My studio is a work in progress because I'm a work in progress. And the funny thing is, it's like a lot of my studio mates, they have their spaces kind of clean and neat. Mine looks like a bomb hit it. This is not the right wording for this place. I'm sorry. It looks like a garbage truck dumped its trash. And you know what? I like it that way because my apartment is very, very neat. My apartment is not a mess. It's a little, it could, I need to vacuum. I just hate vacuuming so much. And dusting. I hate dusting. But I'm sneezing, so great. I guess I should. But the point being is that, I keep my apartment as obviously as livable as possible, but there's no work there. I do not work at home. That's the point. The point is having the studio. That's my playpen. That's like when you go into somebody's house and you go into their basement and they have like 2 or 3 kids. The basement's completely destroyed with toys. And that's how I feel about my studio space. I have a chance to just kind of make a big mess because I didn't have a chance to make a big mess as a kid. My mother was like I don't know what they call that, anal retentive maybe. I was never allowed to make a mess. My room was spotless. But there was a basement that we had in our building, and I kind of made that into my dungeon and lair of art. Same thing like here. It's like, fine, the apartment's immaculate, but the studio is going to be a mess. And then they're like, on my case, be like, oh, you should really, it's all about presentation. This is where I work, man. And I'm sorry that it's not like so neat and tidy. It's just like, no, then did you ever go? It's like I'm like Doc Brown from Back to the Future. It's supposed to be this this supposed to be this wreck, but I know where everything is, and that's where the creative process is, but they don't understand that. I don't know how anyone calls himself an artist, honestly. If you don't make a mess, then you can't be an artist. I'm sorry. It's like it's like how are you gonna make mud pies if you don't get dirty? I don't know. That's your analogy. I have allergies. I don't feel well, but that's as far as it goes. Is it gonna storm? All right. I'll talk to you later.